Quote, "Women 18 to 118. When it is time to vote, please do so in your own self-interest. It is what men have been doing for hundreds of years." End quote, Michelle Williams in her 2020 Golden Globes Award acceptance speech. Michelle Williams, what about every man who voted for your right to vote? And if you would like men to not only vote in their own self-interest, then shouldn't we, as women, uphold the same value? But this is what modern feminism has become, a means to perpetuate self-victimization, self-idolatry, in the name of empowerment, to repackage selfish gain as self-love and self-interest. Now, I'm not suggesting that every modern feminist is an angry at men bra burner seeking revenge. The truth is harder to identify. It is far more frightening because modern feminism has seeped into our everyday culture to the point that we can't even recognize the threats it poses to the threads of any society that upholds Judeo-Christian values. It makes it extremely difficult for Christian men and women to be alert. You see, feminism is both a movement and an ideology in modern American culture. In my thesis, I defined modern feminism as a meta-modern movement against societal and mental definitions of identity by its history throughout 3 waves. I also present a biblical complementarian view of men and women. By identifying key worldviews driving feminism, this thesis examines the movement in comparison to biblical doctrine, arguing that modern feminism does not align with biblical standards for men and women. As a Christian, my following of Jesus Christ is my everything. Christians can join advocacy groups and be activists, yes, but if something is in itself inherently unbiblical, I must walk away. What ought to be our alarm that something in itself is opposed to Christianity? If I have to justify my alignment with a group by modifying its definition. If Jesus is pro-woman, which I would argue he is, why should we call ourselves Christian feminists? Why not merely call yourself a feminist? Why not merely call yourself a Christian? Associating ourselves with feminism, whose underlying worldview requires us to either legitimize our faith or justify feminism by constantly having to redefine just what exactly it is not wise. Philippians 4:8, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about these things. Is modern feminism admirable? Is this praiseworthy? I ask and answer these questions in my thesis. My thesis shows why Christians feel the need to either legitimize or justify, and it is because modern feminism does not align with biblical standards for men and women. In my thesis, I first analyzed the feminist breakdown of social constructs to show a shift in identity antithetical to Christianity. I then connect identity to understanding sexuality, both spiritually and physically. The thesis establishes that identity and sexuality misconceptions perpetuated by feminism distort the true character of God. And finally, my thesis refutes the notion that Christianity needs feminist justifications to define or elevate the status of gender roles. My hope is that this will bring so-called Christian feminists to see Jesus Christ's example and instruction does not and has never needed our defense.